do Falcons do? Rise up. Welcome to Rise Up Reactions, the show where we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia sports, and in general the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Denning, lifelong sports fan. All right, guys. So coming into Week 4, last week I went 8-8 on my predictions. So the Giants loss just caused me to have a neutral record, not a winning record. It's okay. I had a couple teams that won that America picked against, but still, did okay. If you go by what ESPN's picks can pick them, I have a Rise Up Reaction standard pick there. I'm 28-19 and 1 there. My percentile is the 98.4th percentile, so I'll take it. It says I'm 13,110 in the ranking right now. I have no clue how many people play in it, but I would assume it's several hundred thousand at least. So I'm doing okay right now, but let's just jump right into it. Let's talk a little bit about the teams from last week as we go through this. And we'll start with our Thursday night matchup. So we have the, again, reigning Super Bowl runner-up Cincinnati Bengals at home against the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins played out of their minds to win against the Bills. They didn't look great at all times, and I still think the Bills squandered too many opportunities. You had two missed opportunities to take a field goal, one at the end of the second half, and then one to end the game where they just couldn't get out of bounds. And then you also had a Tyler Bass missed field goal and a 4th and 1 that on the goal line that they couldn't get. That did end up turning into 2 points off of the butt punt, which may be one of the stupidest plays I've ever seen. Ranks right up there with the butt fumble by Mark Sanchez against the Patriots all those years ago. So definitely what I would call a lolcow of the week there. But the Dolphins still are a good team. Now, Tua, this is where I think the difference is going to come in. Tua got concussed. I don't know how the hell they got him back on the field. They're calling it a back injury. It ain't a back injury. The man stumbled on the field like he was almost going to pass out. Teddy Bridgewater had to come on the field and play for a few plays. So, no. Tua absolutely had a concussion. This is my medical opinion, watching the injury, seeing how it happened. I don't think you're going to find a doctor, sports medicine, family medicine, otherwise, who's going to tell you different. So, Tua got concussed. I would say it was a pretty good concussion. He still came in and played, which, again, I feel like the NFL should really look into that and probably should find the Dolphins for. But that's the problem here. The Bengals played well. They rallied. They finally got their first win of the season last week. And I do think that the Bengals at home on Thursday night on a short week with Tua banged up are going to pull out a win here. I think Jamar Chase is going to go off for about 9 to 10 receptions for 120 yards here and a couple of touchdowns. And then you still have T. Higgins, who came alive last week. And you still have Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon got a little banged up. Samaje Perine may be looking to go there. So tonight, if you are needing Joe Mixon, you probably should have Samaje Perine ready to go just in case from a fantasy perspective. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals. America says 43% of people pick them, 57% pick the Dolphins. I would pick the Dolphins if A, it was Sunday, and B, they had not just had an injury to Tua. But again, Bengals look like a slightly healthier team here, so I'm going to go with them. Next matchup, we have a London 9:30 Eastern Time AM game, Vikings at New Orleans. Now, is it really anybody at anybody in London? No. So this is on a neutral field. You have the 2-1 Minnesota Vikings against the 1-2 New Orleans Saints. New Orleans looks completely inept on offense. They're doing fine on defense. They just look completely inept on offense. The Minnesota Vikings have looked like a more complete team if you take away the Monday night game, which we all know Kirk Cousins can't play Monday night. Kirk Cousins apparently is 62-2 on his entire career, so just perfectly neutral. Jameis Winston, I don't think, is even close to that. Give me the Minnesota Vikings in London. It's not a primetime game, so Kirk Cousins should be just fine. Give me the Minnesota Vikings. I'll pick with America there and go with them. Now, next we have my Atlanta Falcons playing the Browns at home. So, Falcons in Atlanta. America only has us picked 21% here. I am absolutely going with the Falcons here. We are playing at home. Now, our run defense has been better than it was last year, so Nick Chubb is going to face a little bit stiffer stiffer effort than he would have the previous year. Our defense really is coming alive overall in key moments, even though they still from time to time look like they're giving up big plays, particularly through the air. But we're doing okay on our mid-level plays and our short yardage plays. We're just giving up big plays, which is the problem. Jacoby Brissett played out of his mind last week. Still was a close effort against the Steelers, who couldn't do anything on offense. Give me my Falcons at home. This is going to be our second win of the season. We're going to go 2-2. Moving on, you have the completely inept Washington Commies at the Dallas Cowboys. Cooper Rush is now 3-0 as a starter. This is an easy one. Dallas played out of their minds on defense last week. Give me the Dallas Cowboys all day long. I don't even need to talk about this one anymore. I don't think they'll play as well on defense this week. I think you're going to have guys like Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson getting some fantasy production here. Maybe even Curtis Samuel, who's been a resurgent weapon for them. But again, you're talking about Carson Wentz and not the MVP-esque Carson Wentz from a few years ago. You're talking about the discount, bargain bin quarterback who no longer has a soul. So give me Cooper Rush, the 3-0 starter for the Dallas Cowboys when he's had to step in, and their amazing defense. Give me them all day long. Next, we have Seattle Seahawks, who just lost a heartbreaker to the Detroit Lions. So, in a lot of years, this would be considered a tank bowl. The Detroit Lions are not a tanking team, though. They have had 3 games determined by 1 score, and they've unfortunately come away as the loser on a couple of them. They had the game in hand 24-14 last week against the Minnesota Vikings. Let it get back to 24-20 or 24-21. Missed a field goal, and then on a heartbreaking play to KJ Osborne, Minnesota Vikings tore the soul out of the Lions, and they just couldn't get down the field and do anything with it. There just wasn't enough time. They had to make some hero plays, which Jared Goff is not particularly good at. But give me the Lions. The Lions look great on offense. They were doing really, really well here. Seattle, I just think they played out of their minds at home last week. I think they played above their station because I think the Falcons are a better team after seeing 3 weeks of football here. The Detroit Lions are not a bad team. They easily could be second in their division. I think they probably should have beat the Minnesota Vikings last week, but again, give me the Detroit Lions all day long here. Next, we have Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. This is a tough one. And the reason it's tough is Ryan Tannehill still looks bad for Tennessee. He doesn't look like a great quarterback anymore. I think Malik Willis will see the field sooner than later for the Titans to see what they have in them. They did come alive and beat the winless Raiders last week. They almost lost, they almost gave up the game-tying 2-point conversion, which would have sent it to overtime, and who knows how that would have turned out. It was in Tennessee last week. Indianapolis Colts played much better. They looked like a better team overall. Still some mistakes from them against the Chiefs last week. I think this is a situation where the Chiefs actually shot themselves in the foot. It should not have been the Colts beating them, but it did feel like a trap game. I did pick the Chiefs. I said the Colts very easily could win that one in a trap game. I'm going to take the Colts at home purely because it is at home for them. I think that if they start running the ball effectively like they had last year at the end of the year, then they're going to be better. They don't need to rely on Matt Ryan to win the game, though. They need to rely on Jonathan Taylor, who has been slightly disappointing from a fantasy perspective. But give me the Colts here. It's going to be really close. Derrick Henry should still be good for the Titans. Give me the Colts. Next, we're going to go with the Chicago Bears at the New York Giants. New York Giants are still playing pretty decent football overall. They're not great, but they're not bad. The Bears are just bad. How they're 2-1 is beyond me. I just feel like it's because they played crappy teams or been in crappy situations. So give me the New York Giants here. Giants have played better teams, have looked better against those teams. Give me them all day long. Now, next, one of the premier matchups of the 1 o'clock hour, which I wouldn't have thought this at the beginning of the season, the 2-1 high-scoring last week offense, Jacksonville Jaguars, against the 3-0 Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. This is going to be tough. Philadelphia Eagles defense looks like it's on fire. They had 9 sacks last week against the Commies. Jacksonville Jaguars defense has been nothing to shake a stick at either, basically shutting out the Los Angeles Chargers and their high-powered offense. Now, granted, Justin Herbert was hurt last week, and now the Chargers don't look like nearly as good a team because they had a couple of season-ending injuries, particularly on their offensive line. So I don't think they have as good of an outlook for the rest of the season anymore. But Jacksonville has been playing above what I would call their station for years past, and I think they actually finally have some good coaching under Doug Peterson, and he's finally unlocking Trevor Lawrence. Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, high-scoring quarterback for last week, or one of the high-scoring quarterbacks for last week. He's not making mistakes. He's running the ball a lot. He's finding ways to get first downs. He's not turning the ball over. They are going to ride and die with Jalen Hurts this year in that defense because it is in Philadelphia. And because I'm still just a little shaky on the Jaguars, I'm going to go with the Eagles. I think America is crazy for going 89% with the Eagles. I think this should be a much more 50-50 split. But Eagles, I'm going to go with it, but I think it could very easily be the Jaguars coming out on top here the way they're playing. Now, next we have two Tank Bowl teams here. The New Jersey Jets 1-2 against the Pittsburgh Steelers at Steelers. Steelers are still without T.J. Watt, and they just look completely inept on offense. I don't think that they are going to be able to keep pace with anybody this year. Now, we are looking at Zach Wilson coming back, though you do still have the backups there on the roster. Oh, gosh, who's there? Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's for the Jets. Didn't look great last week. They came back down to earth against the Bengals. I actually do think the Jets, though, with Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, I think this is going to be a coming out party for Breece Hall. So look for the Jets to win in a very, very tight game. I am very much in the minority on this one, but the Jets, I feel like, are playing just a little bit better football when they're good than the Steelers, and I do want to see if Zach Wilson can take that step forward coming back from injury. Moving on, this is the premier 1 o'clock matchup. We have the Buffalo Bills at the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Buffalo banged up, played in an incredibly hot, humid environment. You could tell that it was affecting them last week. Early on in the game, they got most of their points, but as the game went on, it just looked worse and worse for them. Also injured on defense. Their secondary is banged up to hell. They have nobody that's really worthwhile to be a quality starter right now unless they get healthy this week. Ravens are playing out of their mind on offense. They did find a way to beat the New England Patriots because their secondary does look like Swiss cheese right now. I am still going to go with the Bills just because I think they are the better overall team. It would not shock me to see the Ravens win this game, though. Last game of the 1 o'clock slate, two crap teams, or rather one crap team and one team that's just not doing well right now because of injury. Chargers at Houston Texans. Give me the Chargers all day long. I'm not going to talk about that one anymore. Moving on to 4 o'clock, Arizona Cardinals at Carolina Panthers. Cardinals have more talent than the Panthers. Panthers, they found a way to beat the Saints last week. Saints aren't particularly playing good on offense. Give me the Cardinals here. Kyler Murray takes a step forward. It would not surprise me to see Kyler Murray be the top fantasy quarterback this week against the Carolina Panthers. He's going to be in a lot of daily fantasy leagues. Moving on, after I picked the Arizona Cardinals there, Green Bay Packers against Patriots in Green Bay. America says 96% Green Bay. I'm not even going to argue with that. Green Bay, they look like a better team overall. Romeo Doubs finally coming out and showing why he was such a highly touted prospect in the offseason here once he got drafted by them. They are still a little banged up. Sammy Watkins went on injured reserve. But you do have Alan Lazard. You do have Romeo Doubs. I still want to see Christian Watson play. I haven't seen him do a lot of anything because he's been injured. The Patriots, I just don't think are that good. Mac Jones is hurt. Brian Hoyer is going to be stepping in. Green Bay all day long. Then you have the 2-1 Broncos at the 0-3 Las Vegas Raiders. A lot of people think the Broncos are going to win this one. They have not been playing well on offense, but their defense is lights out. Las Vegas Raiders, I felt like should have been 1-2 or 2-1 at this point in the season. Give me the Raiders here just because I think they get their first win of the season. Broncos play poorly at the Raiders historically, so give me the Raiders here. Now, Sunday Night Football, we have the Kansas City Chiefs against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay will have most of their receivers back. They are still not playing great. Tom Brady does finally look a little human here, and it looks like Father Time has finally caught up to him just a little bit. So Kansas City Chiefs, they still haven't really found their identity, I would say, on offense yet. And their defense is just playing okay. It's not playing great. That said, give me the Kansas City Chiefs here. I do like Patrick Mahomes. the younger quarterback. I think he has the higher potential. That Tampa Bay defense will be stout. Don't look for this one to be a high-scoring game. I think it'll come down to the wire with one score. And finally, Monday Night Football, Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the 49ers did not look good on Sunday Night Football last week at Denver. That said, the Rams have been kind of questionable. They played overall pretty well. They beat the Cardinals pretty handily there. They have not played well. The Sean McVay era Rams have not played well for whatever reason against the San Francisco 49ers. It's in San Francisco. I look for Jimmy G to be much more comfortable at home. I look for them to pick up on the run game again and be better. I look for that defense to be fine. The Rams, Cooper Kupp's probably going to find the end zone. Allen Robinson has not been a great pickup for him so far. I don't know what's going on with him. I think he's worth dropping in most fantasy leagues at this point. He only has 7 catches through 3 games, and that's just no bueno for fantasy. Give me the 49ers here. And the only reason is because Sean McVay plays piss poor, or his offense and defense play piss poor against them for the last, whatever it is, 8, 9 matchups. I think they've only won one time in the last 8 or 9 matchups. And then it's in San Francisco. They are still a good team. Give me the 49ers, and that will round us out, guys. Please let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you're keeping up with it on ESPN or any other league, let me know how you're doing down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to interact, and again, that's going to help this channel grow and help me reach more people. Again, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Please click the like button down at the bottom. Consider subscribing, and until next time, rise up.